a psycho killer who mummified the corpses of 26 girls, made dolls out of them, and decorated his house with these dolls. Additionally, I will tell you about a killer who played chess with his victims before sending them to their deaths, and then marked the date of their death on the corresponding square of the chessboard. You might be wondering what kind of psychotic people exist in this world, but this is just the beginning. In today's video, I will also tell you about a psycho killer who kept his victims' underwear as trophies after killing them. In the last part, I talked about Ted Bundy, who kept the heads of the girls he murdered as trophies. But this killer does something entirely different. Next level stuff. I think this intro is enough to twist your mind. If you watch this entire video, you'll be amazed at the kinds of insane people living around us and the unimaginable crimes they commit. So, let's dive into the world of these psycho serial killers in today's intense video. In my life, without murder is like a life without food, said a man named Alexander when the police finally caught him after he had committed 49 murders. However, upon further investigation, the police discovered that he had actually committed 61 murders. When the police asked him why he had killed so many people and what those people had done to harm him, he replied that they had done nothing to him. He just wanted to commit 64 murders so that he could write the death date of each person on every square of his chessboard. There are a total of 64 squares on a chessboard, and he had filled 61 of them with the dates of his victims' deaths, leaving only 3 squares empty. If the police had not caught him, he would have killed 3 more people, those who had played chess with him. This man, Alexander, was so psychotic that he used to go to the garden, make friends with strangers, play chess with them, and then choose his victims from those who had played $750 with CashApp. Only USA people sign up now for your chance to grab $750. It's easy. First, enter your CashApp username. Second step, create your account, and you're in. I don't wait. Sign up and take your shot today. Click the link in first comment and description box to enter. Imagine, if you were playing chess with someone in the garden, you would never suspect what might be going through their mind about you. People would think that someone playing chess in the garden must be a nice person, but they wouldn't know that this person was planning to kill. Alexander, who was hunting for his next victim, has been caught by the police and has received punishment for his actions. You can imagine how the police must have beaten him before he was sentenced because, as they say, bad deeds lead to bad outcomes. That was a terrible saying. But the story of the next killer I'm about to tell you is anything but terrible. There was a man named Anatoli, a Russian historian, meaning he had studied history, and he was known as the Lord of the Mummies because of his bizarre actions. Although he wasn't a killer, when you learn about what he did, it will give you chills. He had a passion for making dolls, particularly large dolls that resembled girls. His apartment hall was filled with these dolls, which looked very lifelike. Whenever guests or strangers visited his home, they were shocked by the dolls, thinking he just had a strange hobby. No one realized why he made such large, human-sized dolls. Anatoli lived in the apartment with his parents. He appeared to be a well-behaved, educated man with a job, so no one suspected him of anything. However, one day, the police arrived at his apartment and began an investigation. During the investigation, the police initially found nothing suspicious, but they became wary of the dolls. Upon closer inspection and research, they discovered that the dolls contained the mummified bodies of real girls. This entire operation was carried out by Anatoli himself. He mummified the bodies and then made dolls out of them, which he kept in his hall. When the police arrested Anatoli and interrogated him, he revealed that he was a victim of loneliness. His parents were always away for work and he couldn't get married. He had even tried to adopt a child but was rejected because the adoption agency deemed his nature psychopathic. When a girl died, he dug up her body, mummified it, and kept it with him. However, one doll was not enough for him, so he dug up and mummified 26 girls' bodies to keep them in his home to alleviate his loneliness. He didn't harm or do anything inappropriate with the dolls. He treated them like his children. He watched TV with them, chilled out, and talked to them. Despite this, the police understood that if left free, Anatoli could potentially commit other serious acts. Therefore, instead of sending him to jail, he was committed to a mental hospital for life, where he is currently undergoing treatment. This news came out, and when Anatoli's parents found out about the crimes their son was committing at home, they told the police that they thought he just had a hobby of making dolls. They had no idea that he was making dolls out of real corpses. You might be wondering how the police came to investigate his house and who suspected him. Actually, there was another very dangerous serial killer with the same name, which I will tell you about later. Because of the suspicion surrounding that serial killer, the police followed Anatoli and found out that he was visiting cemeteries at night, digging up graves and taking out the bodies. One night, a neighbor saw him bringing a corpse into his house and called the police. When the police arrived at his home, Anatoli had already turned the corpse into a doll. Considering the bizarre nature of his crimes, the name Lord of the Mummies doesn't quite fit. He should have... Considering the bizarre nature of his crimes, the name Lord of the Mummies. You've probably seen the movie The Terminator, but today I'm going to tell you about a real-life Terminator named Anatoli, who was Ukraine's most notorious serial killer, known as the Beast of Ukraine. If you have someone named Anatoli around you, be cautious, because you never know if this Anatoli might shoot you. Let's stop this terrible poetry and dive into his crimes. He committed 52 murders, 43 of which he did in just 6 months. He was so meticulous in his actions that the police couldn't catch him. He would enter any house and kill all the residents. He would kill people without using any weapons. He would use whatever he could find. Bricks, iron, wood, whatever came to hand. After committing the murders, he would set the entire house on fire. The most astonishing part is that he had no enmity with the people in the houses he targeted. It was just his mood. He would choose a house and decide to ruin the lives of the people living there. With the advent of CCTV, he eventually got caught. When the police arrested him and searched his house, they found a lot of women's underwear. When asked if he was involved in the underwear trade, our Anatoli, the Beast of Ukraine, explained that he was not a trader. He kept the underwear of the women from the houses he targeted as trophies. So, combining the previous part of this video and this one, we've covered 3 people who committed major crimes and kept some bizarre trophies. The chessboard killer wrote the death dates of his victims on his chessboard. The first Anatoli made dolls out of corpses and kept them at home. And the second Anatoli, who was even more unique, kept women's underwear. I don't understand why people in Ukraine called him the Terminator. They shouldn't tarnish the name of the Terminator. He should have been called the Underwear Collector. If you liked the name in the video, please like the video. If you didn't like the name, suggest a better one in the comments. Let's end it here. If you want part 2 of this series, let me know in thumbs up.